We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Oscars 2024 celebrate LGBTQ plus representation with 6 acting nominees and Billie Eilish's win for What Was I Made For and Ken Kissed a Boy.
George Santos shocks everyone by re-entering the congressional race despite expulsion. Facing Nick LaLota, he vows conservative revival amid misconduct allegations.
19th Florida AIDS Walk and Music Festival, $2 million for local nonprofits to fight the HIV/AIDS epidemic in Florida. Todrick Hall shows support for the cause by performing at the event.
Renowned actor Marcia Harden talks to CBS Sunday Morning about her passion for pottery and commitment to LGBTQ plus activism inspired by her queer children.
GLAAD poll reveals LGBTQ plus voters' impact in November election. 83% intend to vote. 68% favor Biden. Will this help Biden?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news broadcasting live and then available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news for Monday, March 11th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in the LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans students and youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS, healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
That's right. So let's meet our panel. Tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome Dr. Edward Summers. He's the executive director of Pride Lines, Miami's LGBTQ community center. He served as a primary therapist and program director at Eye Care Treatment Center in West Palm Beach. And he also is the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit, The Thinkubator. Welcome, Dr. Summers. How you
Thanks.
doing, baby?
Good. It's good to be here.
Good to see you.
Good to
So
see you
I
as well.
know that Pride Lines is going to host Fab Fridays, and March 15th, you will have a St. Patrick's Youth Celebration. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, so the team came up with some alternative, essentially, to what we know as St. Patty's Day. And so it's going to be a day of art and crafts mixed in with some group conversations. So we're very much looking forward to it.
I love it. Are you going to make green lemonade or anything like that?
I believe they are, yes.
Okay.
Everything green.
Everything green.
You got to celebrate.
Green,
Yeah?
No,
in a sober way.
Very
For
good.
young
In a
people.
sober way, yeah. And it also,
Yes.
like, when you put green everywhere, you're also manifesting money.
Yeah.
You could do
Love that.
green eggs and ham and have someone and like a drag queen reading it to children.
I know.
Wow, so
That's a
many
great
ideas.
idea.
Because we're in
Glenn, that's
Florida,
actually-
what else would you do?
So
That's
many
right. That's true.
ideas.
That's
Next
right.
up, let's welcome the man with all the ideas, Mr. Glen Weinzimer. He owns Bona Italian restaurant in Wilton Manors. The Glen is the founder of the Smart Ride, which raised over $16 million for HIV/AIDS community, for the AIDS/HIV community, excuse me. He's passionate about getting out the LGBTQ plus vote in this critical election year. Glen, our beloved Bona Italian restaurant on
Yes.
Wilton Drive is getting ready for a sidewalk expansion to introduce dining al fresco and wine Thursdays. Tell me what's happening.
Well, it's Wine Thursdays, you get 40% off of the bottled wine in the restaurant. There's some really good wines on there, and if you don't want to actually spend the money during the week, it's a good time to try something new on Thursdays. But more importantly, they made some adjustments to the crosswalk in front of Boner Italian Restaurant, and as a result of it, the lane to nowhere and the parking spots became a huge patio. So I believe we have the largest patio on the drive right now. It's 20 feet by like 14 feet. So it is huge. We haven't figured out exactly how much of it we can take over. So we've got some logistical challenges, but it's going to be great. We're going to look at getting some planters and some large trees and see what we can do to expand our service out onto the drive.
I love that. You know that Boner is my Italian, like heaven. Okay,
Heaven.
everybody knows that. But I also have a lot of friends on the drive that are always out with their dogs and want to go to Boner with their dogs, and now they'll be able to do that with your outside patio.
Yeah, that's great. We've got a couple of favorite dogs that dine with us now outside. We have the 2 little tables and stuff, but no, it'll open it up to a lot more.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Look forward to it,
about
for sure. Next up, let's welcome Maxx Fenning. At 17, he formed the nonprofit PRISM to promote LGBTQ plus inclusive education and made sexual health resources accessible to youth in South Florida. He is a senior at the University of Florida. How are you a senior already? Didn't you just start like last year? No, you didn't.
And I graduate this semester.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of you, Maxie. So we're also getting really excited about Miami Beach Pride. That's coming April 12th through the 14th. Billy Porter was just announced as Grand Marshal of the parade, and he's also headliner, so he'll be performing as well. Tell me what's happening with PRISM and you guys. Are you guys going to be there again?
Yes, absolutely. This will be, I think like our 4th Miami Beach Pride. We're going to be tabling. We're going to be chatting with the community in Miami Beach. And then we're also going to be walking in the parade. Listen, we love a good chant. And y'all haven't seen me until you see me on a megaphone.
Okay, what's your chant? Tell us.
I like races are for blackboards, not for people. I like, don't say gay's a classic. Don't say trans is a classic. Show me what democracy looks like. All of them.
Yes.
I got you. So I'm excited to see people chanting. If you want to walk with us in the parade, you can check out our website, www.prismfl.org, and then scroll down to the bottom to upcoming events.
That's what's up. Thank you, Maxie. Next up, let's welcome Gregg Shapiro. That's Gregg with 2 G's, baby. Gregg's 9th book, Refrain in Light, was selected for the Poetry Mutual 10 Best Poetry Books of 2023. His entertainment coverage, including celebrity interviews, runs in a variety of print and online publications. Gregg, you've been talking about It's D Lovely, right? Jeff Harner sings Cole Porter at Delray Beach Playhouse on March 25th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, it seems like South Florida is having sort of a cabaret show tunes renaissance. Last night I went to see the divine Melissa Errico at the Aventura Arts and Cultural Center, and from March 25th to the 28th at Delray Beach Playhouse, award-winning vocalist Jeff Harner presents his Cole Porter tribute. This is his most recent album, which was a Cy Coleman tribute album, which is fabulous. But he's really great. And if you want, you can read my interview with Jeff at outsfl.com.
I love that. Okay, so that
awesome.
and was it a good interview? Were you happy with it? You liked
really
him?
Sweet. It's really fun. And he's friends with Ann Hampton Calloway.
Yeah.
They grew up together, and Liz Calloway. So there's like this.
Did he hum a few tunes?
He's got a nice voice.
But did he hum a few tunes for you?
I didn't ask.
Missed
Missed opportunity,
Come
Gregg.
on.
Well, we look forward to it.
Even higher expectations for you.
No.
Come on.
You got us nothing, Gregg.
And you didn't even bring anything to play that with.
I'm saying you always bring the props, and I
I love him.
I love it.
I can hide my face easier.
And of course, let's introduce tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of the FayWhat show on Mondays at 9 a.m. and then on demand. Faye, you're going to host Transgender Day of Visibility on March 28th, 2024. Tell me what's happening.
Oh my God. First and foremost, thank you so much to Tatiana Braxton and Adriana Tender over there at Trans Inclusive for the invitation to host for a second year. So please join us at the Pride Center Thursday, March 28th. Okay. Trans Day of Visibility is March 31st, but that is Easter. So we want to give you your day with your family, right? So Thursday, March 28th, 6:30 p.m. for Trans Day of Visibility. And let's enjoy music, food, entertainment, performances. And we're going to be spotlighting and celebrating our incredible transgender community. It will be a powerful night of trans joy. Okay, RSVP at transinclusivegroup.org/TDOV 2024. And I will be there hosting. And it is honestly, I'm humbly so excited to be hosting again year 2. I love you guys. Make sure that you see us there.
Those women are fantastic who run Trans Inclusive. I mean, they're doing amazing work, and I love them. They're great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, I mean, and just like you know, it's an election year. They are working 24 hours a day. I mean, you see them at every event, speaking loud and getting themselves out there, you know? And so when it comes to Trans Day of Remembrance and Trans Day of Visibility, we have to show up for them.
Absolutely.
It can't be just talking crap. Right. We have to show up and show that we support and show that we love our trans community, because we do.
Yeah. So the Mackenzie Project is actually getting a group of us together to like talk about how we collaborate more and how we just work, you know.
I love Jasmine.
I mean, she's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to that. You know, being the new leader of Pride Lines, I haven't had the opportunity to work with them yet. And so I'm just very excited. And you know, trans issues are an important part of Pride Lines history. You know, Jasmine Mackenzie came from Pride Lines.
Okay,
you know? So I'm very excited to work with them. And this is going to be a great event.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will be. Folks, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, March 11th, 2024. Let's begin by queering up entertainment. The very gay Oscars. What was I made for? Just Ken and the queer highlights. The 96th Annual Academy Awards showcased robust LGBTQ plus representations. 6 nominees across acting categories portrayed LGBTQ plus characters, including Annette Bening as Diana Nyad in Nyad and Sterling K. Brown as Cliff Ellison in American Fiction. LGBTQ plus theme songs, What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, won Best Original Song. This was her 2nd Oscar win, and she became the youngest 2-time Oscar winner in history. While she also performed the song on the Oscar stage, the LGBTQ plus community across the world felt seen and for a moment supported over What We Were Made For. The gay internet exploded when Ryan Gosling created Kenergy on the Oscar stage by performing I'm Just Ken. And then Scott Evans ended up kissing Ryan on the cheek. It was so cute. That theme continued when Jimmy Kimmel joked how good Gosling's jeans were and asked him to, quote, "Let's go camping together and not tell our wives." One of the most humorous moments was when a 46-year-old super buff John Cena appeared naked to help Jimmy Kimmel present the Academy Award for Best Costume Design, saying, quote, "Costumes are important." The red carpet at the Oscars also witnessed LGBTQ plus celebrities making striking appearances. Cynthia Erivo stunned in a forest green gown, beautiful, while Laverne Cox exudes elegance in vintage Mugler. Billie Eilish opted for a chic houndstooth ensemble, while Eugene Lee Yang rocked a bold red suit and skirt combo. Coleman Domingo donned a classic black tux with silver accents, and Lily Gladstone radiated in a floor-length black gown with a deep blue train. Matt Bomer impressed in a stylish black and white tuxedo, and Jodie Foster presented sophistication in a navy dress. An exclamation point of the telecast when Kimmel read a review on Truth Social from former President Trump that he was the worst host ever. Replace him. Kimmel read the review word for word and then asked the worldwide audience in the hundreds of millions, quote, "Can you guess who this is from?" End quote. He then thanked the former president and made a joke about his age and his legal troubles by saying, quote, "Isn't it past your jail time?" End quote. The Oscars were incredible. They can't make them any shorter, can they? I mean, that's the only thing that for me, you know, like if you're going to watch it in real time, you're going to have to watch it with the commercials and spend the whole 4 hours dedication of it. Yeah. They started earlier. They started at 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. And they still ran all the way till 10:30. Yeah. So it was still a full show. But it was incredible. I think that Jimmy Kimmel did a great job. Yeah. He did not go down the route of Joe Coy, how he messed up, you know, that last time. You know, I thought he was very natural and fun and energetic and relatable, and he messed with people, but I think he knew where to not. Yeah. Like when he got to Robert Downey Jr., where by the way, BTW side note, if you don't think sobriety works, look at Robert Downey Jr. Right. Okay, look at where he was 20, 30 years ago and where he is now. Ooh. He just picked up a freaking Oscar, folks. Yeah. Okay, he had been nominated a million times and never won. And now that he's doing things correctly, you know. But when Jimmy went to go make fun of him, you saw he was kind of like, am I going to go there? Am I not going to go there? Let's just say your life was a little messed up a couple of years ago, and then he just kind of kept on. You know, I have to say, I have to go on record and say that I really wish that more Black and brown people won awards. I was kind of taken aback by the fact that Danielle Brooks didn't win anything. Domingo, Mr. Domingo didn't win anything. Coleman Domingo didn't win anything. America didn't win anything. Like, a lot of the people that I was really hoping to win didn't get anything. And that just tells me that I'll never be a movie buff like you are, Gregg, and talk about movies. Because every time I think a movie's going to win, they don't win anything.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I was actually grateful that out actors Coleman Domingo and Jodie Foster were nominated, and that straight actors playing gay characters, Fenning as Naiad and Brown as Cliff. I mean, he nailed the gay adolescence, as we call it.
He really did.
The late in life coming out.
Yeah.
I'm glad they were also nominated. Kudos also to Billie Eilish and her Oscar win. That said, some of the best and most important queer movies, Andrew Hayes' All of Us Strangers, starring out actor Andrew Scott, Ira Sachs' Passengers, which starred out actor Ben Whishaw.
I watched that.
And the documentary Kokomo City by trans filmmaker Dee Smith, they were overlooked.
Yes.
So every time we think we're making progress and we're gaying it up, I just don't think we're gaying it up enough.
Yeah. Max, what did you think?
I don't know. I think, I love the fits, especially our super buff
John
man.
Cena.
John Cena.
John Cena was
was your favorite part, wasn't it?
especially good. See, I'm getting flustered. I'm all red. Had an especially good outfit, in my opinion. And I thought it was just everyone
naked.
stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It was
glamorous.
stunning.
Little pouch.
Look
It
at
was a
that.
pouch.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Listen, that was a very small folder
Yeah.
to cover all of that, Was I the only one trying to look under the folder like for my TV?
Maybe he tucked. He might have tucked.
Oh, maybe. You think he tucked? Maybe
I'm
the
just
drag
saying.
queen taught him how to tuck. I mean,
Or maybe it was just cold in there.
It was very cold, I think.
that could be.
So it was safely
So-
behind the
That could be. Okay. Anything that jumped out at you, Glenn?
just Cena.
Besides,
Just Cena.
That's it.
Speaking gay boys, let me tell you.
I think the fashion was great.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you highlighted all the fashion. I think it was pretty amazing. I think Kimmel did a good job, but I don't like the fact that he gave Trump any attention. He should have paid that guy no freaking attention. Why would you give him the spotlight?
Yeah.
Because we already know his radical right-wing folks who follow him will follow him no matter what. So whatever you said, Kimmel, is not going to work,
And
right?
they weren't
I wouldn't even. They probably weren't watching anyway, right? But I
Too many
wouldn't have paid no
liberals.
attention.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have paid him no attention.
I have to agree with Edward. The second that he read that whole text, I said, why did you just give this man the biggest stage in the world today?
For what?
Millions of
For what?
viewers.
No.
For what?
But
Why
it
you-
happens every single day. I mean, why are we covering him nonstop
It's
on
so
MSNBC
stupid.
24 hours a day?
Yeah.
I mean, we even talk about him here.
Yeah. Right.
Like, we give him too much acknowledgement. He doesn't deserve it. And I feel like the press in many ways got him elected last time, and we'll get him elected possibly.
please.
Oh, no.
Don't-
No, let's not go there. Can I finish my Oscar because
Yes.
I'm about to throw up?
Yeah.
I am Ken. I loved Ryan Gosling's performance. If you haven't
I love
seen
Ryan
it,
Gosling, please.
go look it up on YouTube. But the man sang like himself. It was not a track. It was not anything. Again, the boy could sing.
He can
He
sing.
could blow, and he looked beautiful doing it.
He can blow?
No.
No.
And doesn't it remind you something of like Marilyn Monroe's Some Like It Hot or something? You know that one was she's with the pink dress and the bow and all the boys?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like
For
to
sure.
me.
A real,
He's gorgeous.
real show
He is
tune,
beautiful.
Real showstopper number.
Yeah.
But also Scott Evans, isn't that Chris Evans' gay brother?
Yes.
Oh
Which
my
is-
God.
yes, it's Chris Evans'
I just
gay
put it all
brother.
together.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so the Oscars were gay. They could have been
Yeah,
a little more
a little
gayer,
more.
and they could have been a little bit more black and brown. Okay,
Yeah,
now you
agreed.
know everything. Now you
Agreed.
don't even have to watch.
That's right. All right, let's move on. Next, let's career politics. It's true. Disgraced gay George Santos announces he's running for Congress again. Former U.S. Congressman George Santos has shocked the political arena by announcing his bid for Congress. He is breaking his earlier promise to step away from politics. During President Joe Biden's State of the Union address, Santos declared his intention to challenge Republican Nick LaLauda in New York's 1st Congressional District. In a fiery statement on X, Santos accused LaLauda of being a rhino and vowed to bring true conservative representation back to New York. Rhino is an acronym for Republican in name only. This announcement comes despite Santos's expulsion from the House of Representatives for alleged misconduct and representation of his background. Santos, a gay Republican, faces intense scrutiny for his past actions, including accusations of defrauding donors and misusing campaign funds for personal expenses, including buying luxury items and OnlyFans subscriptions. LaLauda, who led the effort to expel Santos, has pledged to hold him accountable and ensure justice is served. In a post written on X in response to the announcement by Santos, Lalada says, quote, to raise the standard in Congress and to hold a pathological liar who stole an election accountable, I led the charge to expel George Santos. If finishing the job requires beating him in a primary, count me in, unquote. Despite facing multiple felony charges and a trial scheduled for September 9th, which is after the primary, Santos remains undeterred in his bid for Congress. If convicted, Santos will have to face a maximum of 22 years in prison. I don't even know where to begin with this. It just it blows my mind. And the fact that he thinks that he can win a second term in New York is outrageous. Yeah. It's crazy. And
he's nuts.
He is nuts. And he lied through the whole first thing. He's got nothing to stand on.
Yeah.
He's got nothing that he can say, I can prove all these statements wrong. Everything was proven that he is certifiably nuts. And it just, it just makes me crazy, and it's just a state of our political situation right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can even be allowed to run. I mean, it's thrown out by his peers.
It's insane. But to your point, Glenn, the fact that he thinks that he's going to win on Long Island, despite Long Island having some conservative parts, people are rational though. People are a little bit rational, a little bit more rational on Long Island. I lived there. I lived in Port Jeff for a little while, and so people tend to be a little bit more rational in things like this. I don't think it's any way possible for him to actually win this. I mean, people will hold what he did. He lied. You're a big freaking liar.
He's a huge liar. Let's think about all the lies he said. He said he had family members that died in 9/11. He said he was Jewish. He started a GoFundMe for a dog that didn't exist that supposedly was sick. I mean, he has lied and lied and lied.
Drag queen. No,
right.
joking.
You can't fool New Yorkers like that.
Right,
the first time they had no reason to not believe him, and he sounded plausible. But now he's completely implausible, and he's been outed by his contemporaries. I mean, to be outed by the Republicans is a big deal. They don't let you go.
They don't usually turn on their own.
They don't turn on their own.
So is he like a glutton for punishment then that he's going to do this?
No, look, somebody needs to tell him. I mean, he started that GoFundMe, but clearly he needs to make more use of it because he does not need to run for office again to get people to donate to his OnlyFans and Botox. He could just start up a GoFundMe and be good from there.
Well, and he's also making a living off his cameos. You guys have heard of that. People are asking him hey, tell my friend that he can make it to college, and he'll do a video for them for $200.
He did one for a furry too. It was
he's just a big narcissist. He's a big narcissist.
And at the end of the day, think about this, okay? Trump, he's got all these charges against him. He owes all these people money, and yet they're still allowing him to run for president.
Exactly. So, why not?
Santos? Right?
Why not Santos? Right.
I mean, really, compare the two. Yeah, Santos is the lesser of two crazies.
I predict in 2028 is going to be the DeSantis-Santos ticket from what's left of the GOP.
Bite your tongue. That is horrible thought.
Now,
bad energy.
God. Now let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Speaking of DeSantis, Florida AIDS Walk raises more than $2 million for 13 South Florida LGBTQ plus nonprofits. The 19th annual Florida AIDS Walk and Music Festival, held on Saturday at Fort Lauderdale Beach, proved to be a resounding success as it raised a staggering $2 million for 13 local HIV/AIDS nonprofit organizations. Hosted by AHF AIDS Healthcare Foundation in partnership with music festival entertainer Todrick Hall, the event attracted over 2,000 attendees and garnered significant support for crucial HIV/AIDS services in South Florida's community. Hall's involvement highlighted the event's mission to raise funds and awareness for HIV/AIDS services in the region. Tracy Jones, AHF Southern Bureau Chief, expressed gratitude for Hall's advocacy and emphasized the event's significance in addressing the devastating impact of HIV/AIDS in South Florida. The festival featured a 5K walk, concert, and informational booths on health and wellness services. Apart from family-focused activities and performances by singer, songwriter, DJ Citizen Jane, iHeartRadio's Kimmy B served as the MC for the event, with iHeartRadio as the official radio partner. The event's beneficiaries, including organizations Afro Pride Florida, Aqua Foundation, Broward House, Equality Florida, Latino Salute, the Pride Center at Equality Park, Pride Lines, and SunServe, among others, will benefit from the funds raised to continue their vital work in the community. Florida ranks in the top 5 for new HIV diagnoses, with several cities grappling with high infection rates. Events like the Florida AIDS Walk and Music Festival and the former Smart Ride help combat the epidemic and support those impacted. Fundraising for the event continues through April 30th. So it appears that AHF Florida AIDS Walk will reach an all-time record in donations to LGBTQ plus charities and nonprofits. Wow, it was a great event. Of course, Pride Lines, the organization I represent, is a beneficiary. We walked, we had great support, but it was overall just a great day. We had great weather, although I think you got a tan there. Sorry, I had to point it out. But it was an overall great event. When I think about this event, I think about the important work that we're all doing. You know, despite the misnomers, you know, the virus is still here. And the fact that Florida is leading.
Yeah.
You know, we're in ground zero basically.
Aren't we like
Florida.
#1?
We're #1 in the country, you know, Florida for a new and
Woohoo!
And Broward and Miami-Dade lead the pack on that.
Broward and Miami-Dade lead the pack, and then Liberty City, where Pride Line's just located, our main headquarters, is ground zero for it. You know, while it was a great event, we raised a lot of money for the organizations. You know, it's still a major issue, and I appreciate the awareness that was raised from the event, and the fact that the community came out to support it. It was a great event.
Right, and it's amazing to see the people on stage talking about HIV/AIDS, right? You know, Todrick Hall making a big speech about it, and even Eric Benet. Like Eric Benet, I didn't even, I knew Eric Benet as the guy who cheated on Halle Berry. That was how I knew him until he got on stage, and then I was like, oh wow, he's amazing. But he even talked about his journey, you know, and people that he knew. It was just so important. Glenn, how does this wash over you? Smart Ride, you know, AIDS Walk, very similar. You know, the community that they're fighting for, that they're raising all this funds for, and just how much it entails to put something like this together, you know?
I am most impressed by the number of agencies that benefit from this, and for the fact that the community came out. You know, the money is important, but in many ways, the money is a side to the difference that awareness and it makes. 13 to 23-year-olds are at the highest risk of getting it. If you're a Black or Brown, Latino, you're at a much higher risk within those groups. And so when you look at our youth and stuff that are not getting the education in our schools, why are we #1? Look at the state that we're in. You know, where you can't say gay, where there's no GSAs after school anymore, or they're limited. You know, where is someone getting sex education? Even before DeSantis, it was all about abstinence in the schools. That's not the reality of life. And so when these folks are not being taught anything in the schools, and not being made self-aware, and are not living their true selves, you're bringing in a greater chance of people getting infected. And doing things like the AIDS Walk, or what will the new version of what Smart Ride will be, those are really important to get the word out, because even without the money, getting the word out at least gets people aware, and they can Google what they need to Google, hopefully learn something from friends, and these organizations are there to help. So I'm a huge fan of anything that's going to make a difference and continue the HIV awareness.
And something, you know, I'm getting goosebumps because, like, I just remember turning around, right? Well, I was walking with SunSurf, and turning around and seeing everybody that I respect from every organization I respect, right? Seeing Pride Line, seeing Aqua Foundation, seeing Latino Salud, seeing SunSurf, seeing, you know, who else did I forget? Flock Fest, TransInclusive, Dolphin Dems, like if you just name a nonprofit that we're constantly talking about and fighting for, they were there with all their friends and family.
Right. And everyone's embracing and raising that level of awareness, which is so important. You know?
Glenn, you bring up a great point, excellent point about the community, and the fact that you have 13 agencies there. It's not similar to the Smart Ride, but the fact that you have 13 agencies collaborating, building a sense of community among the agencies as well, that's pretty powerful.
It is.
And our impact is pretty powerful in our communities.
Yeah.
It's great.
And it's great that in organizations we really care about.
Well, and you still have time to donate, so make sure that you go on over to AHF and you can still send in some money, okay?
Until April 30th,
Until April 30th.
And the big thing too about this is that, you know, money raised up until $500,000 gets matched by AHF.
$1 for $1.
Not every organization is $1 for $1.
Okay.
Bitter, but okay.
Bitter, but hey, you learned it here first. Thank you for
Exactly.
What's up next, Max?
All right, next, let's queer up students and youth culture. Marcia Gay Harden on protecting LGBTQ plus children, including her own. Marcia Gay Harden, renowned for her as a versatile actor, opened up over the weekend about her life beyond the spotlight in a candid interview with CBS correspondent Seth Doane for CBS Sunday Morning. Harden, an Oscar and Tony Award winner, is known for her dedication to her craft rather than seeking celebrity status. In a rare glimpse into her personal life, Harden shared her love for pottery, a passion cultivated during her Broadway days in the 1990s. She talked about what she experienced during the peak of the AIDS crisis. She embraces her down-to-earth persona as described by her daughter Eulala and reflects on the joy of working with clay at the Faenza Art Ceramic Center. She also talked about her latest role as lawyer Margaret Wright in CBS So Help Me Todd. Despite her success, Harden remains protective of her private life. However, Harden recently took a public stand for her family, revealing that all 3 of her children identify as queer. In a recent interview with People, she expressed that her commitment to activism stems from her children. Eulala, age 25, identifies as non-binary, while Hudson, age 19, is gay. Their twin, Julita, embraces fluidity in her identity. Harden publicly shared this revelation during the Drag Isn't Dangerous telethon. Reflecting on her journey, Harden acknowledged the profound impact her children have had on her understanding of gender nonconformity. With her children as her inspiration and guides, Harden remains steadfast in her commitment to advocate for LGBTQ plus rights.
All 3 of her kids identify as queer.
For which I've been accused of being a groomer, wouldn't we all be so lucky we could just groom our little children to be whatever? Like, it's such as if people's gender identities are able to be manipulated. My eldest child uses they, them pronouns, and my son is gay, and my youngest daughter, I would say, is fluid, understands loving a human being. So I love that about them.
Wow, that's so spectacular. I think it's so important to recognize like the impact of having queer people in your life and your perception on the queer community, right? Like it's one thing to like know about a queer person, but it's another thing to like have a kid and face that and really experience that in your day-to-day life. And just the way that she speaks to that experience is just so powerful.
Think about how fortunate her kids are that they have a mom or a family that they can come out to. Because we know that the gay community is not isolated to just big cities where there's knowledge. You think about you getting into middle America where it's still, you just don't come out because you're being judged and they don't know anyone that they know of that's gay, and because they can't express themselves, what happens, and that's what's scary, and that's how we end up with more issues with HIV and AIDS and all kinds of psychological issues. So I think, she's amazing, and the fact that she's got, her kids have parents like her are fantastic.
Well, and we've got to note that her middle name is gay. Okay? Her middle name is gay.
I don't want to state the
obvious.
It's just right there.
But we are really lucky to have outspoken advocates such as Harden, as well as Jamie Lee Curtis and Annette Bening. All 3 of them are award-winning actors, and they are all the parents of LGBTQ plus children.
Wow.
And they speak. Sally Field, another one, has a gay son, very vocal, and
We've come a long way, because 20 years ago, they would not have outed their kids. No. It would have been a taboo for them and a career ender.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've changed, we've grown with it.
And again, piggyback on what Glenn said, like those kids are lucky to have a mom that way. And, and also she's lucky to have her queer kids.
Yeah.
They're both embracing that, like Max had touched on also, like, a lot of parents, they find out their kids are queer and they want nothing to do with it. And they're like, no, I'm too old to learn anything new. I'm done. I'm sorry. Either you change or our relationship ends here. And that's not the case with this incredible woman. Those queer kids know they can do anything in this world. And that is a power that I can't even explain to you. If you at a young age think that there's nothing that can stop you, you're unstoppable, baby. And you're queer. Watch out, world, because Marcia's kids are coming.
Yeah. And, Max, you're a perfect example of that. I mean, like, we kind of forget that you're at this table.
And he's
10. And they're 12 years old. And you have parents that I've met that are amazing. And would you be that same person without them? I don't know. You have to have that kind of love at home in order to be able to to feed and prosper and grow. And, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful to be able to have, a family and parents who support me and are so loving and are just so, overjoyed to have me as their son, of course. I think that's just so spectacular. And I think for a sense of self and just being able to come into this world as our full authentic selves, like it really starts with having that support. So
wow. Next, let's queer up the USA view. New poll finds LGBTQ plus Americans are more likely to vote. Do you believe them? A new poll conducted by GLAAD has shed light on the significant role LGBTQ plus voters are poised to play in the upcoming November election. The survey, conducted by Pathfinder Opinion Research, gathered responses from both LGBTQ plus and non-LGBTQ plus registered voters, focusing on their voting intentions and key campaign issues. Among the key findings, 83% of registered LGBTQ plus voters expressed a definite intention to vote in November, with the vast majority favoring Joe Biden over Donald Trump. The poll revealed that 68% of LGBTQ plus voters would likely vote for Biden, highlighting a strong preference for the Democratic incumbent. The survey also underscored the potential influence of LGBTQ plus voters in key battleground states, with preferences for Biden over Trump by a significant margin in states such as Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Additionally, queer voters expressed a clear stance against anti-trans campaigns, with a majority opposing candidates who advocate for restricting access to health care and sports participation for transgender youth. GLAAD President and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis has emphasized the importance of LGBTQ plus voices in shaping electoral politics. However, despite these compelling statistics, doubts persist regarding the impact of LGBTQ plus voter turnout. While the poll suggests a strong inclination towards political participation among LGBTQ plus Americans, the true extent of their influence on electoral outcomes remains to be seen. Well, we can't say this enough, and we say it almost every show. Please register, please vote. That's the mantra we've been reciting on this show for the couple of years that I've been here. And yes, seriously, our lives literally depend on it for the 2024 election. And if you need proof, and I don't want to cause anybody to have any nightmares, but if you have a moment, please take a look at the website for Project 2025, because it is beyond terrifying. They are no longer hiding. They are coming out and saying what their plans are, and it doesn't look good for any of us. So please take a look at it and vote. This will give you more of a reason to vote.
But does this give us any kind of hope, though? 83%, that's a very high percentage. But I also know how flaky, and we're like squirrels in our community. Yeah. We're like, oh my God, I have to go vote. Hey, Grindr. Oh my God, I have to go vote. Hey, that boy looked at me.
Well, listen, that's also why I do voter reg on Grindr. I've made an account and I've changed my username to vote bitch with a ballot box emoji and told people to register to vote. Sometimes you gotta meet people where they're at. So
that's great.
That's incredible. No, but that's a smart way to do it. Here in South Florida, we have early voting and people still don't go. Yeah. You have a whole week to figure it out.
No excuse.
Your vote is your voice. I don't want to hear the complaining when we get elected leaders who we don't agree with, who we're like, what the fuck? Like, well, your vote is your voice.
Yeah. We remember Trump time.
Your vote is your freaking voice.
You want Trump time on steroids? No.
Right. No. And he's even more unhinged now than ever before.
Yeah.
He's mad.
So,
Max, what do you think about like all the youth protest votes? Do you think that those kids are going to come out and really vote for Biden this time around?
I really, from what we're seeing, I do not think that there are a lot of young people that are behind Joe Biden. I definitely think young people have a preference for Biden, but there's a lot of folks who are really, really upset with some of the things that Biden has done, specifically around Palestine and Gaza, that I think are really, really going to draw votes away from Biden.
Yeah, I think the challenge is people don't have a a really good understanding of politics and the way political systems work. And I think that you hear a headline and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm jumping on this bandwagon. Oh, he's doing this. He's killing people in Gaza, right? It's so much more complicated than that. And I think people should take a American government or an international relations course or whatever to really get a good sense of our political system. I don't think people really genuinely understand it. It's all, like, this is the tagline, so I'm jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, like
and that's unfortunate.
The gas prices go up. It's Biden. It's not Biden. That's not how that works.
Real. Like I understand people that don't want to vote because of that reason, but at the end of the day, Trump is not going to be nicer.
But I mean,
like that's just the reality.
But you know, I mean, our government is so complex, right? And there's so many issues that it's not just the Palestine-Israel thing, right? There's so many more issues that impact us on a daily basis here, right? Like the economy, right? Like, I mean, I just was listening to MSNBC and people were getting surveyed and they was like, well, how's the economy? People, oh, it's horrible underneath Biden. But guess what? Our unemployment rate's been the lowest in like 50 years. Yeah. Wait a minute. Mom and pop shops on Main Street are doing the best under Biden's economy and even better than Obama's, right? Like,
and they're not
they're not looking at these factors. So it's such.
Trump, when he was elected last time, Muslims were one of the ones he banned from coming into the United States. So you may not like Biden's policies right now with Israel, but do you want to be banned? Like, none of us will exist.
Yeah.
So I hate to say it's better of two evils if you don't like Biden, but you know, at least we know what we're getting.
It is the lesser of two evils. Okay.
Well, it's not the less even because Biden is nothing wrong with his policies. No. So I shouldn't have even said lesser of two evils. But for some people,
if you needed to choose,
they don't want to. Right. Yeah. So the apathy of like, I'm just not going to vote. That doesn't help anybody.
Get educated.
And let's be clear too. It's too early. It's still so early. Yeah. We're the few that like think about this, but it's very, very early. When I think about Obama versus Romney, you know, the turning point was like in the debate between Obama versus Romney, like Obama seemed very apathetic, right? And then all of a sudden we didn't think he was going to win. And then what happened? I think something happened. I think it was like Syria or something like that. And all of a sudden it flipped, right? And then Obama ended up winning and beating Romney, right? So it's still so early to tell. Quite frankly, what ended up happening, look at Hillary and Trump, right?
She was
a shoo-in. Then the FBI 2 weeks before did the email crap, right? So yes, we want people to be engaged, right? We want people to be more like enthusiastic about this, but the reality, what happens in every election that's told us this, the weeks leading up is what's going to change people, right? People are going to get either engaged or disengaged, right? And I think that we have to really, we want to continue to educate them now, but during that month before, we have to really push hard during those times to really get people engaged. But it's going to be whatever happens in our environment. Who knows what's going to happen, right? We just don't know, you know? And even going back to Obama, right? I think it was Hurricane Sandy that happened, right? So, and then Chris Christie and Obama was there looking very presidential, and all of a sudden the Republicans flipped to Obama, right? Like they was a little bit more keen on him because he looked very presidential during that. So it really is going to be about the environment that we're in 2 weeks or so leading up to the election. It's going to really determine what happens.
Okay, well, we'll stay tuned and get educated and get your friends and fellow lovers educated too.
Yes.
I'll say
but still be engaged, be knowledgeable, you know, but it's so early to tell. So next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Services at 10:30 a.m.
Have you heard the Hotspots magazine Happening Out Television Network will launch a new show this Friday? It's called The W Boys. We ho to Wilton. Inspired by 40 years of Entertainment Tonight, The W Boys will focus on the LGBTQ plus community perspective of Hollywood, Broadway, gay culture, and more.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up trans rights. Trans visibility TransActress June Raven Romero stars in the meeting of Miami's Elvis fan club. Juggernaut Theater Company presents Conjuring the King, an immersive Elvis fan club experience now through April 28th, written by Dipti Bramhadenkar and directed by Anna Margignano. The show stars Susie K. Taylor and trans actress June Raven Romero as the Elvis Fan Club President, Miami. Held at a secret location in Little River, this exclusive event is limited to 15 Elvis Fan Club members per show. The location will be revealed only to the ticket holders of that show. Tickets start at $77 with VIP options available. Each performance promises a unique journey through the heart of Elvis mania, making every night unforgettable. Dress code, wear your best Elvis look. For more information and tickets, go to juggernauttheatercompany.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale unveils exciting festivals, from Renaissance Magic to Airborne Thrills. Visit Lauderdale is gearing up for an array of fantastic festivals this spring for everyone under the sun. Begin with immersing yourself in the 32nd Florida Renaissance Festival, running every weekend until March 24. It is an opportunity to step back into time to the 16th century with blown glass, hand-tooled leather, and thrilling jousting matches. Get ready to celebrate all things Irish at the Fort Lauderdale St. Paddy's Day Parade and Festival on March 16th. Then mark your calendars for the Tortuga Music Festival from April 5th to the 7th, featuring headliners like Jason Aldean, Boyz II Men, and TLC. Lastly, don't miss Fort Lauderdale Air Show on May 11th to the 12th for thrilling aerial displays.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up lesbian culture. Women of Wilton present the Dyke and the Pornstar at the Foundry through April 2nd. Get ready for an electrifying experience as Ronnie Larson and Women of Wilton presents The Dyke and the Pornstar by Bela Travis. This gripping production will run from March 16th through April 2nd at the Foundry. Directed by Nicole Stoddard, the play stars Aaron Dalton and Sandy Stock, with intimacy direction by Nicole Perry and stage management by Karen Horowitz. The lighting design is by Bree Ann Obst. This dark, sexy comedy promises to be as complex as it is hot. Women of Wilton is a division of Plays of Wilton and is committed to showcasing plays about women. This showcase is for 18 and above. For ticket purchases and further details, visit womenofwilton.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Queer adult cartoon Has Been Hotel shines a light on ace Aero characters. Amazon Prime's Has Been Hotel by Vivian Medrano continues to captivate audiences with its stellar voice cast, catchy musicals, and unique animation. As the show gears up for its second season, fans eagerly anticipate more of Charlie Morningstar and her fellow demons serenading them with creativity and diversity. The show's commitment to inclusivity shines through with characters like Alastor, a sinner demon who identifies as aromantic and asexual. Alastor's representation is significant as the aromantic and asexual experience is rarely portrayed positively in entertainment. Including asexual representation in TV shows like Has Been Hotel offers viewers a chance to engage with diverse experiences.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up culture. Bear Jamboree comes to Orlando one magical weekend, May 31st to June 2nd. Get ready for one magical weekend. The global LGBTQ+ music and pride festival hitting Orlando, Florida, May 31st to June 2nd. OMW also presents Bear Jamboree in partnership with Orlando Bear Pride. The event promises an unforgettable experience. Friday night, May 31st, kicks off with Bear Lagoon at Riptide featuring DJ Paki Chulo. Red Shirt Saturday brings the meetup at the Country Bear Jamboree at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. And Sunday marks the closing celebration with 18+ events, allowing you to flaunt your favorite Pride gear and mask. The festival features 3 nighttime plus 3 daytime private bear pool parties. Tickets start at $199 per night. Don't miss out on this magical celebration of love and pride. Further details are available on orlandobearpride.com.
Next, we queer up breaking news. Diversity Honors Harvey Milk Medal recipient Mark Hunter announces he has stage 4 cancer. Last week, Mark Hunter, the legendary owner of Hunter's nightclub in Palm Springs and here in Wilton Manors, anchored right here at this table at Queer News Tonight. We discussed his recognition from the Harvey Milk Foundation and Pride Center at Equality Park and the prestigious Alan Schubert Award. He was presented the award at a star-studded gala this Saturday at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel. In all of that joy, we had no idea of the news that would break today. Stage 4 cancer. Mark broke the news himself, writing, quote, "I have prostate cancer. The doctor says I have stage 4 malignant metastatic neoplasm of the prostate that has spread to the bones and possibly the kidneys. I am disclosing this news in hopes it will help someone. This diagnosis is not a death sentence. I am very optimistic that there is a 97% survival rate for the first 5 years and about the same at 10 years. Excuse me, sorry. Also, the prostate cancer grows slowly," end quote. Hunter then describes the medical and health steps that will be next, including drug therapy and the possibility of radiation and chemotherapy. Mark Hunter and Hunter's nightclub has been instrumental in countless events and social experiences for both Palm Springs and South Florida. Hunter's has been a trusted source of helping nonprofit organizations with so many needs in our community, especially since pandemic. This is clearly breaking news, but from the entire Hotspots magazine and Happening Out television network family, we are struck by the timing of this story from last week's news show and his speech at Diversity Honors when he said, quote, "One of my greatest memories will be of the stories that people told me of how important Hunter's has been to them as a safe space," end quote. He was talking about his bar. We are talking about our community hero, Mark Hunter. He finished his statement by saying, quote, "My doctor said to live my life like I normally would. So here's to life," end quote.
This was, I'm going to give you a second to catch yourself.
Please do.
So, I was fortunate to have lunch with Mark last Thursday, and he had told me during lunch that he had stage 4 prostate cancer. And he explained to me that although it's stage 4, you know, the first thing they're doing is hormone therapy to get his basically his testosterone down to 0 to help fight this. Mm-hmm. And that's a good sign because they're not going right to radiation. They're not going right to chemotherapy. And I think we all at the table know people that have had prostate cancer and have survived. And he is a healthy human being that he's a dancer. He's athletic. He has a great attitude, which I believe, for my own issues, is half of the battle. Mm-hmm. So I believe he believes that he has a lot of hope for the future. And he just invested in Java Joe.
Coffee place.
Right, he bought over Java Boys, Java Joe, which part of what it's going to be is 5% of everything that they make is going to go back to organizations to help them in the nightclub business is what his intentions are. So he's not stopping what he's doing. He's not throwing that out the window. And he's known for a little bit of time. I don't know if it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever, but he's still moving forward. And so as much as this is shocking news, I know he has the support of all of us in the community because I believe that Mark Hunter is not giving up on anything and he's moving forward. And he told me, Patrick, business partner and long-term companion, is 100% behind him and is there as a rock to support him. So as much as this is shocking, I really do believe that it's not the end for Mark Hunter or Hunters or anything else. So that's just my positive take on this.
No, that's great, Glenn, and you know, definitely my sympathy out there. And I think Faye reported a good statistic. It's like over 90% of people survive this. And so there's definitely some hope out there for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know.
There's no one that fights for our community more than this man. I love Mark Hunter.
Yeah.
You know, personally, he has wrapped his arms around me and said, hey, I love you, whatever you need. If you ever feel like you're not seen because you're a lesbian at Hunters that's full of gay boys, please come to me. You know, whatever table he sits at, he's like, listen, you're at that table with me. That is the kind of person that Mark Hunter is. He didn't have to be that way, you know? He's a privileged white guy that has a place in Palm Springs too. He doesn't have to be that way, but he just is, you know? And I'm crying because I don't want him to go through this, you know? This just sucks. I'm a cancer survivor and I know this sucks, you know? But if anybody can win this, it will be Mark. If there's anyone that could fight this to the teeth and nail, it will be him. Yeah. And in the process, he's going to help so many people by just sharing his
awareness.
Story.
That was a big thing.
By just sharing his story.
Yes.
And Faye, as a cancer survivor yourself, you know that there is a rainbow at the end of a lot of these, and he is definitely one of those people at the end of the rainbow that's going to come out a winner. Yeah. I mean, I have to believe that he's.
And I can't stop crying. Max, say something.
I'm fortunate enough to have not lost anybody by cancer, but so many folks have, and I think that, I'm saying 97% is some good odds. So I'm hoping that he'll be part of that 97.
And we knew Mark in Chicago when he had Hunters in Elk Grove Village before he opened.
That was his first one, yeah.
So we know he's a good guy. He's so supportive of the community. Really. Just a great guy, and we're sending all the best wishes for him for the future.
We love you, Mark Hunter Seymour. Yes, I used your full government name, all right? And if you need anything, Hotspot's happening out. We are all here. Each and every one of the anchors is here for you, especially me. We love you, and you will get through this.
For sure.
You will.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience, watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dr. Edward Summers, Glen Weinzimer, Maxx Fenning, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. into our LGBTQ plus world. We wish you good night.
Good night.